Hello, it's Abdurrahman Ali here. We're gonna today speak and continue our discussion about transfer pricing. If this is your first video, please go ahead and watch your first introduction video about what is a transfer pricing. In today's session, we're gonna speak about little bit close understanding and close terminologies that has been explored in the OECD Model Tax Convention. A model tax convention is basically that model that two jurisdictions or more than one jurisdiction uses for their bilateral agreements. It's called, sometimes they call it double tax treaty, but here we are talking about the model convention by itself. And under Article 9 of the OECD Model Convention, we're going to talk about what could be transfer pricing and what could be associated enterprises. So Article 9 called associated enterprises, and it's dealing with the following. It states that if an enterprise of a contracting state, it participates directly or indirectly in the management, control, or capital of another enterprise of the other contracting state, or the same persons participate directly or indirectly in the management, control, or capital of an enterprise of the contracting state and an enterprise of the other contracting state. So there is a relationship here, right? And in either case, conditions are made or imposed between the two enterprises in their commercial or financial relations that which differ from those which would be made between independent enterprises. Then any those conditions have not so accurate may be included in the profits of the enterprise taxed accordingly. This is the concept of a transfer pricing regulation where you need to think about it this way. If there is a special relationship between two enterprises, which is associated enterprises that led that taxes being perhaps not applied properly, the state has the right to adjust for such. So if you think about or you look at the second article or second paragraph under Article 9, we will conclude that where a contracting state includes in the profits of an enterprise of that state and taxes accordingly profits on which an enterprise of the other contracting state have been charged to tax in the first or the other state, and the profits so included are profits which have been accrued in the first mentioned state. If the conditions made between the two enterprises had been so those which would have been between independent parties or independent enterprises, then the other state shall make an appropriate adjustment to the amount of tax charged therein. This is the concept of something called a corresponding adjustment. What is this? Let's assume that in country A you have been dealing and you had an adjustment of the profits. Your profits, let's say, was adjusted to be increased by $100. And you're still dealing with other contracting states, let's say country B. So in country B, your revenues or your profits was taxed the other way around. So perhaps you have paid like around $10 taxes in the first state, which is country A. In country B, you're gonna get credit against the $10. But what if you had an adjustment in your profits in country A. So this means that perhaps you paid a little bit more taxes, let's call it $15. So $15 minus 10 originally reported concludes to a $5 difference in taxes you paid in country A according to the adjustment that happened to you. So in country B, there is a need for a corresponding adjustment to reflect that you have paid $15, not just 10. And this is the difference that coming after the adjustment. And guess what? That as it has been explained in the article itself, in determining such adjustment, due regard shall be had to the other provisions of this convention. And the competent authorities, which is the two authorities of each country A and country B of the contracting states, shall, if necessary, consult each other. They should endeavor to cooperate about this corresponding adjustment. So about this, you should be reading the commentary on Article 9 from the OECD Model Convention. It's stating that perhaps there is a parent and subsidiary companies that under common control, then the terms has to be at arm's length. And if there is transfer pricing adjustment in the first mentioned state or country A, perhaps the country B where there is a parent, it should be allowing a corresponding adjustment. It might not be automatically applied, but you need to think about it that way, that perhaps they need to endeavor or the taxpayer will be compromised to something called double taxation. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about it in more details and more articles to come to specify the concept of special relationship. Thanks.